Hello and welcome to American Beer TV. I have the owner of Bayhawk Brewing Company out of Orange County, California, Karl Zappa, and from Southwest Brew News we have David Mulvihill. Did I say that right? Okay, cool. Get my pronunciation correct. We are drinking from Bayhawk Ales. This is their Imperial Brown Ale. And why don't you, I'll pour this, and why don't you tell us a little bit about
Thank you for having Dave and I down here today, Kenny, to drink some beer with you. Our Imperial Brown Ale is really a style that doesn't exist. It's a style we kind of came up with ourselves. We looked at what's popular among people that enjoy big beers, and we came up with a brown ale. We call it our Imperial Brown Ale because it amplifies all the flavors that people are looking at when they want to drink a brown ale. My salesman has described it as Newcastle on steroids. It is, again, a beer, a large alcohol content beer, about 8%. It is brewed with a Nottingham yeast, very lightly hopped, but does have molasses, brown sugar, and some vanilla in it. It's an old ale style, really. We looked at the GABF guidelines when we were developing the style back when it was hard to get hops. And since it was hard to get hops and people were really wanting to drink really full flavored beers and we couldn't really effectively produce an IPA, we said, well, let's take a beer and focus on the malt profile. So we used a number of different malts. We gave it a nice chocolatey flavor because our chocolate porter is probably our most award-winning beer. And we tried to come up again with a beer that is a brown ale, light in color, but a lot of malt characteristics to it. And you're probably going to get a hint of sourness out of this beer. Very, very lightly hopped, but a lot of very complex flavors. A lot of the flavors that you look for in a brown ale, in an old ale. You'll get some diacetyl to it. You might get that hint of sourness. You probably won't taste the alcohol too much until you try to get up off your chair. But you will get that in a hurry. So a 22-ounce bottle is a really good size to get if that's the last beer of the night you want. It does go good with sweeter desserts because of that little bit of sourness and the chocolatiness about it. And you will get hints of chocolate in it. But I'm going to let Dave and Kenny drink the beer and kind of describe it to you and tell you what they think.
Let's take a taste. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Pretty mellow, but like I said, it is something that you probably will feel.
I think you described it perfectly.
Yeah, you get the mellowness, but as it sits on your tongue, it definitely opens up. You get a little bit of that, just the touch of that sourness. Not the bad sour, but the sour that brings out the other flavors.
Yeah, saying like the English old ale, that's a really good.
One thing that you do get in the aroma is there isn't much of a hop aroma, but you get a very pear, fruity aroma.
Right,
too.
I was going to say the
really
aroma's really malty. Yeah, got those caramel malt notes in the nose, a little sweetness, a little fruit sweetness. Yeah, like you said, there's so many big double IPAs out there. It is really refreshing to see some of the bigger malty beers, you know, an old ale or a Scotch ale. It's almost like a lot of those styles of beers, everyone just kind of, let's just brew a big double IPA, and they kind of forget about there's so many different other styles of beers out there that everyone just goes after the hops.
And believe it or not, this actually fits into almost the Scottish category, or the
it is kind of similar to that.
Something interesting about it, people have asked, some other brewers have asked me, you know, why don't you age this in a whiskey cask or something like that? And actually, that's a great idea. But I'm of the philosophy that we make beer so people can drink it and people can consume it in a hurry. And I don't want to have a beer around for a year or two, mostly because...
But it sounds so cool,
man.
It
sounds cool.
Come on.
But I want people to enjoy beer, and I want to be able to enjoy it at a lower price than a $16 bottle of beer. This generally retails for somewhere around $3.50 to $4.50 a bottle.
Yeah, if you got a store, then that's going to up the price by
and I don't believe that beer should be the most expensive drink anybody should buy. I think beer is something that people should enjoy with every meal. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah, beer is a fresh product, and it's an unpretentious product. It's something to be drink and we're doing now, and have fun and conversation with friends. And that's what it's all about. You don't want to swirl around and spit it into a bucket or whatever. You want to drink it, right?
I do see people do that. We consider a sample of beer a pint around the brewery. I call that a brewer's sample.
A brewer's sample.
And we are known. We work all night long, so we are known to start those brewer's samples somewhere around 1 o'clock in the morning. And generally, when I'm there at 5 o'clock, by 6:30, I'm getting a brewer's sample. And so, wanting something that has a little bit of coffee notes about it, and something that does have the chocolatey flavor, it kind of goes good in the morning.
Yeah.
And even at night, if you want to have this with some sort of sweet dessert, some sort of chocolate cake,
it would
something
go
like
really
that.
I think it would complement it. With the extra bite that it has at the end. It kind of cleanses your palate as you have that dessert. I could see that.
Well, I'm really proud of
it.
this.
On the same way, that's why this would age really well in a whiskey barrel too.
It will age.
Bourbon barrel.
That would be perfect.
Well, maybe these guys will talk me into that. Maybe that's something we will do in the future. When we have a little more room, Bayhawk's very, very small and we're very cramped for space. And that's what keeps us from not putting out a lot of bottled beer that's widely available. So if you do find this beer, you're going to find it in some of the better package stores. It is going to be in the Whole Foods markets and in the Total Wines.
Okay.
So there are places where you can get it and you can enjoy it. And again, it's going to be something totally different than what we're known for. We're known as the beer that the real average guy drinks. We're a beer that people drink in a family
California
restaurant.
Pales and the Hammer.
Yeah, we don't come out with these really big beers. So this is something that I wanted to try and experiment.
I think a lot of people don't realize that Bayhawk is the oldest working brewery in Orange County. Is that correct?
That is true.
So
Yes.
You guys started what year?
We started in actually broke ground in '94. First beers came out in '95. We're by far the largest brewery in Orange County. We did 83,000+ barrels last year. We're on a pace to do about 8,500 this year. Still small. We're not as big as Stone. We're not as big as some of the other guys that started after us. But we're confined in the workspace that we have, and we're looking to expand. But we have a little different philosophy than most people. Kenny introduced me as the owner. I don't own Bayhawk. I spend a lot of time dispelling that rumor. I work for a number of stockholders, about 1,000 of them, and we are all in business to make sure we're producing beer for the next 100 years. So the fact that we are small and we're remaining that way really lends itself to a more hometown, small town type of brewing that may not be really well known in LA or Orange County. Everybody in LA and Orange County is a big, it's a place where people drink Coors Light, Bud Light, and they don't think of the small breweries so much in our area. But we've been working.
We're working on changing that.
We are working on changing
with beer news and blogs like Beer TV. Then hopefully we can start changing that little by little. It's great.
Well, thank you, Kenny. We appreciate it. Anything?
Just that a lot of people don't realize that they're drinking your beer a lot of the time because they're at a stream jumper or a road.
One other thing about Bayhawk Ales is they contract a lot of beers for either big corporate restaurants or restaurant chains. Yeah. So.
We do a lot of beer for Claim Jumper, the Outbacks here in LA and Orange County, Lucille's Barbecue, Wood Ranch Barbecue, Original Roadhouse, King's Fish House.
Wow.
If you go into one of the local restaurants and they have a house beer, the chances are very, very good that Bayhawk brewed it for them. And if you go to our website, you'll see the tagline on our homepage is the greatest beer you never knew you drank. Because it is true. You probably have had our beer and never known it. And said, whatever place you were in, whatever restaurant, they've got a really great house beer. And some people do go to those restaurants just to drink our beer, but they don't know who makes it.
And one thing that is really good about that is that you have so many different accounts and you're cranking out a lot of beer that the beer you do get at those establishments is going to be really fresh. So that's a really important thing about drinking craft beer like this is that it's really fresh. So, well, all right, man. Thanks for joining us on the show.
It was a pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You can reach Karl at Bayhawk Ales, and you can reach David at Southwest Brew News, right?
Right. Southwest Brewing News.
Oh, Southwest Brewing News. Excuse me.
And
that's straight.
Dave is always looking for a great place to go drink beer, and of course, here at Kenny's place at the Cabo Baja Taco Grill.
Yeah.
Is it? Did I get that
Cabo
right?
Taco.
Cabo Taco Baja Grill. I write it a number of different ways, but if you want to have a great
Call it
beer
whatever you want.
in La Mirada, California, this is the place to go. And in an area that may not be noted for great beers, this is a real oasis in one of those places where you don't find a lot of brew pubs in this particular area. Good place to drink beer.
Cheers, guys.
Pros.
Thanks.